Hi, my name is Szycrotic and welcome to the end of the year Q&A video. Since it's the end of the year, I wanted to have a good ending where y'all can get to know me a little better because goddamn can I not respond to every single DM, email, comment, whatever. So this is a good way for more people to be able to get to know me and I get to know all of y'all. These questions are from Twitter, Blue Sky, Discord, and Instagram. So if you want to ask questions, please follow me on every social ever. We're gonna start with Discord. From Hex, was 9 plus 10? 69. From Bede, what was your, if you had one, dawning moment when you realized, oh shit, I'm a woman? Did you always feel it, that you were uncomfortable with your gender? Or was it something you discovered about yourself later on in life? Follow up, if you had to give advice on others who are also trying to discover themselves, what would it be? I had some issues with gender. I feel like most people do growing up, with specifically how I was dressing. In my family and in Norway in general, most people don't really dress to impress. They kind of just dress for functionality most of the time because that's exactly why our weather is the way it is. It is just dress as for functionality. And that's how I was raised. I was always told to just dress for functionality. And then later on in life, I just kept doing it. So big baggy t-shirts, big baggy pants, that was it. I didn't take care of myself. I didn't care about myself or my appearance. The only time I truly cared about my appearances was like at a funeral or a wedding or something like that. Later on in life, when I was in a relationship, that's when I realized how much gender goes into day-to-day life, a person's life. It was so weird being a man and I couldn't just be Psy, because my parents and my family in general, yes, there are very stereotypical male and female relationships within my family and within the people I know. There is also a lot of people who kind of just act however they want, and that's how I was raised. Yes, my family used he pronouns for me my entire life, but I never felt like a guy or like a girl. It was just kind of I am me and that was it. And when I was in a relationship with someone, it became very weird for me because to me it's never been, oh, you're the woman, I'm the guy, so I do this and you do this. It's always been, we're two people working together, so just do whatever the thing you're good at. And that wasn't how it worked. It was very much the person I was with wanted me to be the guy, the man in the relationship. And I felt very uncomfortable with that fact. And later on, it dawned on me that that's how people view me. I have never thought about how people view me before. And then I realized, oh shit, when I walk around, people don't see me as I thought of me. They see a guy. And I never thought about that ever in my life. And it very much dawned on me like, oh shit, like when people see me, they see a guy. They see a dude with long hair, big beard, and hella tattoos. And I was like, but I don't want that. I don't want people to see that. Later on, I was literally on TikTok. I know, I'm so sorry. And I was scrolling TikTok and I got a bunch of like before and after transfem timelines. And I remember like jumping out of my bed, like outwardly going, you can do that? And I was like, all right, here we go. I've always been good at accepting myself for whoever I am. But when that happened, I had like 2 weeks of like, this is just who I am. I'm trans, whatever, no big deal. And then like a month-ish later, it kind of all came crashing down. I had a solid 2 months, 3 months maybe, where I thought, I'll just ignore it. It's gonna go away. It's just a phase. It's just an idea I have, whatever. It will go away. But it didn't, and that made me incredibly depressed. Being trans, as amazing it is also probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life, and probably will be the hardest thing I ever do in my entire life. Nothing in my life is easy anymore. Just going to the bathroom publicly is a mental struggle. Every day when I wake up, I don't wake up talking, sounding like this. I do vocal exercises all the time to keep my voice how I want it. There are days and moments where I just sit there and be like, is this even worth it? And it is. It really is. But it is hard. And it is something to truly think about before you jump really hardcore into it. The second part of your question, if you had to give advice on others who are also trying to discover themselves, what would it be? Honestly, do everything, try everything. Don't let gender or labels or whatever limit your ability to be you. If you're a guy, if you're a girl, if you're anything in between, it does not matter. Wear whatever you want to wear, use whatever you want to use. If you want to use makeup, no makeup, shave, unshave, doesn't matter. If you want to discover yourself, you also have to try everything all the time. So if you're like, I might be trans, I might be a woman, I don't know, you have to kind of act like it to see how it feels. That is my best advice. Good luck out there. From Athena, did people leave you after you came out? I had my debut when I was a couple months into my transition. I want to say about a half a year-ish, maybe a little less. And when I debuted my model, this background, everything you see in front of you right now, my community shifted. I used to be a hardcore shit poster, very much doing whatever I wanted, whatever would get views, to be honest, and kind of saying really raunchy, random shit, just because that's what got reaction out of chat. That's what kept my numbers up. And I realized this is not who I want to be. Slowly but surely, I started changing my content and I started losing viewers rapidly. When the debut happened, most of my community that I had built up on Twitch over the course of like 3 years kind of all disappeared at the same time as a bunch of new people like just emerged. So it was a very weird period where it was like a solid week where all of my old viewers from Twitch and my community members just either left or never spoke in my Discord ever again, or showed up to stream or watch my videos as far as I'm aware. That was really weird. None of my friends left or anything like that though, which I am very, very grateful for. Twinkmas, great name. Favorite band or music creator? If you don't have one or it depends on your mood, then what's your current favorite? Favorite band has to be Ghost, and favorite music creator probably Ghostmain or Lil Peep. But also it does depend on my mood, I guess. I kind of listen to everything, and I know people meme on that shit and people are like, oh my god, you listen to everything, but I literally do listen to everything. Like, I'm talking everything from like Garth Brooks type shit all the way to like Suicide Boys, Puya, Lil Peep, all that shit. So my music taste is whatever I feel that day. From Newt, what's the one thing you would bring with you when stranded on a deserted island? From Vilt, how do you deal with the constant fear of not being good enough or to be a real woman, and the constant worrying that maybe you're wrong and making the largest mistake of your life that you won't be able to take back? I think about my life and my decisions in life like this. At the end of my life, would I regret that decision? Yes or no? So if I said to myself, I'm not going to transition, I'm just going to try to ignore it, and I went through my entire life as a guy, didn't try to transition or anything, I just gave, just dropped the torch, and I was laying in my deathbed, would I think about what would happen? Would I regret it? What if? And that is how I think about my life. That is how I make my decisions. From Cheek Yapper, what is your crazy story? The craziest story I have is I was almost in a plane crash. I've told this story before on stream, but basically I was traveling and we're like 20 minutes from landing, and we hear that the pilot goes, there's going to be some turbulence going down. Please fasten your seatbelt. And the worst part about the entire story is my pilot was also Danish, so can't believe this. When the plane starts like descending and landing, it starts going like this. Like, I've experienced turbulence before, but it was like the whole plane was like shaking, like we were like being flinged side to side. If like there were people who were like falling out of their seats, like the people working in the plane were like falling as they were trying to like sit down and belt up. It was fucking crazy. Like the wheels, I hear them come out. We're like a couple meters from the ground, and then suddenly the plane just like fully back up, full speed, full force, so hard that like I couldn't move because the G-force just like kept me in my seat. And we were circling the airport for like 30-40 minutes. The pilot comes back on, tells us if we keep having to circle around the airport, we have to land on the other side of the country I was visiting to refuel the plane and then come back and try to land again. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna fucking die here. That's what I was thinking. I was like, all right, I'm gonna fucking die. This is it. Had a good ride. So I set up an app on my phone. I've always used this. Basically, you set an alarm, a timer, basically. You can write a message and that will be sent to a bunch of people in your contact list. So I wrote a message to my family. I don't want to get too specific with it because I'm going to cry. It was a very emotional journey. And I just put the hoodie I was wearing over my face, put my headphones in, put on music, and just like laid there until something was gonna happen. And I feel the plane starts going down again, and I just try to focus on the music, and then I take my hoodie off because I felt the plane jump from the landing. I look out the window and I see the plane go like this. We're like jumping like on the tarmac, like we're fucking like skipping, and I haven't been on the plane since. Unorn, what is one game you wish you could experience again for the first time? That's such a good question. Either Sly, the entire Sly series, or Silent Hill 2. From Penguin, are there games you would never play on stream? Why? You have a global audience, people from everywhere just wandering in. Does this affect your creative decision? Also, are there more Euros or Yankees in the audience? According to my Twitch stats and most of my YouTube stats, there are more Yankees. Yes, there are definitely things I do not stream at all because I think it will just be bad for the viewership. Funny enough, things that I do think would do pretty mid usually do really well, and things I do think will do well do really poorly most of the time, which is really weird. But yeah, like as an example, I love The Sims. I love playing Sims. I love playing specifically Sims 3. I want to stream it, but I don't think people will care. Most games that I think would be really fun to play and I want to experience with chat kind of end up being meh metric wise. They're usually pretty okay or absolutely awful. Like I'm talking like 40% drop in viewership stuff. Also, does having multiple people from so many places in the world affect how I make content? Yes and no. I try to be inclusive in my language. Like I try not to, oh yeah, this is just how it is, because that's what I know. I try to always add like, but it might be different from where you are. It might be different here, whatever. I don't really think too much about it, honestly. I just kind of make content and hope people like it. From Cub, one of my mods. What was the very thing that gave you the inspiration to start streaming? What was the spark that brought you an eye to content creation? I know you edited since your younger age, but was there anything that truly inspired you to the thought that you yourself want to make content as well? PewDiePie. During PewDiePie's like explosive growth very early on in his career, and the Swedish news station was broadcasting this interview with him, and I'll put it on screen and share so you can see it. And I remember watching that whole interview so many times. I have rewatched that interview on YouTube probably hundreds of times. And I've always been good with tech. I've always been good with software. And so from that interview, I saw that he was using Windows Movie Maker to record his webcam. And I saw that he was using Fraps to record his game. And that's how I found my two first ever recording softwares. And that's how I started. Over time though, I was like, I don't think I can make this into a career by just being a personality. One, I was really young and I just didn't have a personality yet. And two, it wasn't easy, even back then. But I was good at editing. I was fast at it, I was good at it, and I was consistent at it. So I decided if I can't make it a career where I make the content, at least I want to edit for other people who are already there. And I did that for a couple of years, at the same time trying to keep making my own content, but I never found the thing I wanted to make. I never found the thing. You know, PewDiePie had the horror Let's Plays and later, you know, Happy Wheels and whatever, and most people will tell you make variety. But what they don't tell you is growing from variety is the hardest way to grow. It is so much easier to use a niche and try to expand into variety later on. When I started my transition, where I really found my spark truly into making content. I've done every type of content. I've done video game analysis. I've tried achievement hunting. I've tried Let's Plays. I've done tech and OBS tips, content creation school, all that type of shit. It was fun. And I think my biggest problem as a content creator is finding out what I really want to make. And then when I started my transition, there wasn't really any other outwardly trans VTubers that early on, at least that I could find, and that was making the content that I was needing. I didn't want it, I needed it. And at the time, I wasn't really watching many IRL people because I was so involved in the VTubing world that watching IRL content creators felt boring to me. And even though I watch more IRL content creators now who are, amazing trans creators, I became what I needed later down the line. I tried to just think about myself as what would I want to see or wish that I could hear when I was looking for outwardly trans VTubers who were talking about transitioning. Hyro! What would you say has been the moment in your content creation career that left the biggest impression on you? Either the subathon or when we raised almost $2,000 for charity. All my biggest, proudest moments, specifically with the charity thing. I love charity work, and it is also where I feel like my impact as a creator truly becomes real. Lyoko, any hobbies you wish you can get into? I wish I was really into cars or football for some reason. I want to be into cars because I think it's very important to be able to fix a car or whatever, because we use them every day, at least here. And football, I'm talking real football, I'm not talking American football, just seems fun to be into, caring about the teams, caring about the score, but I just am not. Evelyn, what's the weirdest dream you've ever had, and what video games do you dislike the most? I don't really normally remember my dreams. What games I dislike the most? Stuff like Genshin Impact, things like that I've never found an interest in. I don't care about these characters. Yeah, I will meme and even semi-care if the character is ridiculously hot or whatever. I don't understand how people can play Genshin Impact and truly care about the characters or even the game. It is clearly just there to make money, but to each their own, and I don't care what people are into. Do whatever the fuck makes you happy. This is from Ghosty Rose. First, I just want to say you helped me a lot with my transition. My voice is slightly better than what it was, and thank you for it. I hope more people find this and I hope they appreciate you like all of us. My question is, what is your favorite fast food restaurant? First off, thank you. My favorite fast food restaurant I've ever tasted, ever eaten, was a shitty old burger joint that I randomly discovered when I was attending one of my cousin's funerals. All I remember from the restaurant was the sign was like a brown swivel, and it had the initials UNC, and that was it. I returned to that place years later, and sadly it was shut down, and I've never been able to find it again ever since. I don't really have a favorite fast food restaurant. I grew up on home cooked meals, or if you're hungry, grab a sandwich. So those were all the questions from the Discord. Over to Blue Sky. From Abby, thoughts on a Weibo? 10 out of 10. Hi Sai, I hope you had a very good 2024. How was your 2024 and what do you look forward to 2025? 2024 was a mixed bag, to be honest. It's definitely been a year where I've done a lot of personal thinking about myself, my family, and my relationships to people. I've very much come to the terms with how I feel about my family, which sounds weird because I very rarely talk about them, but they are around me all the time. I have talked about this before, but my family is huge. I have a massively extended family, and where I currently live, they are around me all the time. Definitely have come to the realization that I love my family, but I need to get away from my family a little bit, which has been a very hard thing for me to realize and really process and understand with myself, because I've always grown up around my family. I feel like we're close, that hasn't changed, but I feel like I need distance from all of them. So that has been my biggest change and what my 2024 really was focused on. I'm also hoping that at the start of 2025, I will be moved and also have started HRT fucking finally. So overarchingly, I think 2024 was good, but had a bunch of necessary bad. From Knackered Ocelot, what is the most pog innovation you made this year in regard to your content creation? I made it so every time somebody redeems TTS, it will auto-record, which if you are watching this video or you found my content, you've probably seen a lot of those shorts. It's just TTS focused, and that has been so so amazing. Another big thing was Metricool. I made a video about this that went mini viral on Twitter. An amazing website that I use literally every day. Why the punk aesthetic with the Vtuber model from Mad Dog? Basically, I've always loved the physicality of being a punk. I just love the punk movement, the punk aesthetic, everything that it truly represents. But aesthetically, I've always loved the big gothic, ethereal, kind of dark, moody aesthetic. So I just kind of combine them both because it's exactly how I feel on the inside. Over to Twitter. Do you have any tips or advice for voice training as a trans femme? Learn the big dog, little dog exercise. From Shaolin Spartan. Here's one. What do you say for when people are down in the dumps and how can it be better next year and what not? Also keep up the great work. Thank you, I will. Ask them, do you want to be told anything? Do you need anything? Or do you want to just sit? And if they go, I don't know, just give them some space for a little bit and see if they can come back to you. Just let them know that you're open and be there for them. Okay, over to Instagram. From Grin. Would you ever do a face reveal? Sorry if you already said you wouldn't or would. I wouldn't. I don't want to show my face. I think the best part about VTubing is to not show your face. And at least for right now, I never want to show my face. From Daedric. Did the spike braces stay on during sex? Yes. From Gustavo. What are your thoughts on stealth transitioning? Transitioning without telling anyone until it becomes impossible to hide. I think if you have to stealth transition, do it. I think it's also completely fine to do it if that's what you makes you comfortable to be able to transition comfortably. I do also think it is important though to, when you are ready, embrace your transness, embrace your new reality with open arms and try not to hide it. There is, at least for me, a mental change in how I think about myself and my life now versus how it was before I was transitioning. And transitioning has given me such a purpose that I feel like it is important that when you are ready to embrace your transness and to embrace your transition wholeheartedly. But if stealth transitioning is what makes you happy, is what makes you comfortable, and or is what you need to do to keep yourself safe, do it 1000%. Number one tip for a baby trans femme. Start voice training as early as humanly possible. If you are already dedicated to transitioning, start voice training right now. I know it sucks. I know it's hard. Don't be like, I'll start tomorrow. Don't be like, I'll start next week, next month. Oh, I'll commit next day. No, start right now. This is your signal. This is your sign. Start right now. The real hero of Doom. What has been the best part to streaming? Not to feel alone anymore. When I turn my stream on, even if it's 2 people showing up, at least I'm not alone. And that's how I felt a lot of my life. And especially as a gamer, a nerd, whatever you want to call it, I felt very lonely a lot. So being able to, just turn on stream, play a game, and have anywhere between 20 to 100 people show up feels pretty good and makes me feel less alone in the world. The people dislike that you transitioned. Transitioning is one of those things that is the best and the purest form of self-love, so it didn't really matter to me. When I really committed to my transition and specifically started to commit really hard to my voice training, it became one of those, either you fuck with me, either you're here for the ride or you're not. There is no in between. You can't pussyfoot around it. You can't sit on the fence. You can't be like, oh, it's fine if you do it like this, but not like this. No. Transitioning is messy, it's annoying. So if somebody comes to you and they're like, hey, could you please not do your vocal exercises around me or whatever? Sure, in certain situations, obviously don't do it. But if there are people who are consistently annoyed or don't like it or aren't comfortable, your stuff you gotta do to transition, to do what you gotta do or be who you wanna be, drop them. Fuck them, move on with your day. Favorite game or character or characters? Favorite game of all time is Jack and Daxter, Jack 2 specifically. Favorite character though, I want to actually say Death Stranding. Specifically Sam Porter Bridges, I think is one of the best characters ever because nothing changed. Which sounds weird, but hear me out. When you're playing a game or watching a movie or watching a TV show or whatever, we are so used to a character going through a traumatic experience, going through a big, oh my god, adventurous journey where they meet a lot of characters and a lot of people, and they have both good and bad interactions, and of course they defeat the big bad boss at the end, and they get the girl, and everything is all great. The fact of reality is that's not true. You can go through traumatic experiences, big adventures, meet lots of amazing and terrible people, and nothing changes. You don't change, they don't change, life moves on just the same. And I think, at least for me at the time, I needed that. I needed a character that just goes through life, and life sucks for him in that world and for a lot of those people. And I wanted a character that I could relate to, because I relate so hard to that whole thing. Sam Porter Bridges, for me, was a character, especially at the start of COVID, that I truly loved and truly cherish as one of my favorite characters of all time, if not the favorite character of all time. What is your end goal in streaming and life as well? I don't have an end goal with streaming or content at all. In my life though, I think it's just being happy. It's just being who I want to be and being able to look myself in the mirror and see who I want to see. What is something you learned this year you wish you would have known sooner? You can love your family to the end and back and would even die for them. But it's important to realize that you also need to take a step back from your family sometimes. That's okay. And that is the end of 2024 Q&A, baby. Thank you all for all your amazing questions. I couldn't answer all of them, or some of them were repeat questions or asked by somebody else, so please forgive me. If you want me to answer more of your questions, you can follow me over on Instagram. It is where I do a lot of Q&As just randomly whenever. Or you can join my Discord, which is the fastest, the best, and the easiest way to get a hold of me for any and all reasons. You can ask me whatever questions you want in the Discord general chat. Please don't DM me just for no reason. Have some respect. And I will see you all in 2025. Happy Christmas, Merry Holidays, and of course, stay sexy, stay amazing, stay beautiful, stay gay, and make 2025 your fucking bitch.